No, I'm always second. Now, are you recording? Hello and welcome to the Walk in Love podcast. I am TJ.
And I'm Brooke.
And today we are going to talk about being kind to others and being kind to yourself.
Oh,
You look great today, babe.
thanks.
Kindness.
I didn't curl my hair, and I feel very different.
Okay, I didn't curl my hair either. I feel the same.
I just keep looking at the screen, and it's like so straight.
It's like so straight. Babe, it's like
Like
so
super
straight.
straight.
Your hair, you rock a lot of polka dots. Oh, she
Yes,
did.
you rock a lot of polka dots.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for making us a part of your week. It really means so much to us. Today, we are going to talk about another design that will be a part of the spring collection coming out April 9th at 9 p.m. Eastern. How many times do you think I've said April 9th at 9 p.m. Eastern so
Not
far?
enough.
Not enough. Okay, but that's when it's coming out.
What? I'm sorry, when?
April 9th, 9 p.m. Not
It's Eastern.
Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
On the day of our
That's where I
Lord,
live.
April 9th, the year 2021, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Right.
The collection will go live, and it's cool looking.
So if I wake up at 9 a.m.
And
that day, I've got 12 hours.
If the math is right. I don't know. I'm not a DMD. I don't know. But-
9 to 9, that's
yeah.
about the only math I know during a day.
So if you're part of the text group, you've seen this design because it was the first preview that we sent. It says, be kind to others, be kind to yourself. And today we're going to talk about it. It may or may not have a tie-dye shirt. That's all I'm going to say. There may or may not be tie-dye shirts in this collection. That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
We don't know.
I don't know.
How would we know that?
But
Are you saying see the world or sea world?
I don't know what I'm saying. So before we get into that design a little bit, here's full disclosure.
Okay.
Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Be kind to others and be kind to yourself. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Do we really have to talk about it?
But then I started writing notes, and I got a lot of notes, baby.
Okay.
So this might be a long one. I don't
Wow.
know. We'll see.
Maybe I need 2 clementines.
Wow. But before we get into that, we're going to do all the segments.
Whoa.
I need a button that's like, all the segments.
Okay, well, just cut that clip out
Okay.
when you're editing this week.
Today we're going to do all the segments. I'm hoping I got the sound right. Someone said the sound on YouTube was bad.
Not normal.
Not normal. It was like super low. Sunny does come up here and touch every button and turn every knob.
Yeah.
So that might have been it, but we're not sure. But they said the podcast sounded fine. So it was just YouTube.
Just the YouTube.
Just the tubes.
Weird.
Just the tubers. But before we go into the design and do all the segments, we are going to go through some of your comments. First and foremost, we are very aware now that there was a show called Swamp People
See?
on the History Channel
just knew.
about hunting crocodiles or alligators or
I can
fish
just
or I
picture
don't know.
someone, it's 2 guys, like, being like, I'm going to go under. And then the one guy, like, is like, ooh, like a lot of shaky footage, you know?
Yeah.
Like handheld cam
Yeah.
way back in the day. And this guy just, like, goes under and, like, reaches into this weird swamp hole and, like, pulls out some creature. And I
Yeah.
was like, I don't
Well, it was
know
on the
if
History
I want to
Channel.
watch this.
And you can expect the VHS set for your anniversary gift. So
Yes.
I'll have to also buy you a VCR. Both gifts coming your way for our anniversary.
12 years.
Yeah, Swamp People. We're still working on a name. It's not Swamp People. We can't take a name that's already
No.
been taken.
No.
Julia said last week's episode took her from that's a cool design to being able to see the design as an actual reminder, which makes my heart sing because that's why we make t-shirts, to actually remind you, which is cool.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of t-shirts, if you're watching,
There it is.
there it is.
Swamp Dragons.
Swamp Dragon jersey. Hot off the
Should've worn
presses.
mine.
Natasha asked, what episode does she need to listen to get the upstairs or downstairs joke? So
It was more back when we were in the basement. We definitely said it more then.
yeah, so upstairs or downstairs, babe, comes from The Office, but they actually never say that. We've
We've
rewatched that.
shortened it and changed it.
It's from the dinner party episode, which is just one of the best episodes they ever
Yeah.
created. And they're getting ready. Jan and Michael are ready to give Jim and Pam the tour, and they go upstairs or downstairs, babe. And he's like, I don't know, babe. And that's not even
But
the
they
right.
don't say that.
But
Do you want to start upstairs or I don't know.
but they say the word babe like 6 times in a really short period of time. So we shorten it to upstairs or downstairs, babe. So it's not from one of our episodes. It's from The Office.
Yeah.
And it would be a sound clip, but we've totally changed it, so it doesn't exist that way. It's like,
Are you saying see the world or sea world?
we've changed it. Another popular comment this week was the tongue is the rudder, it steers the whole ship, which was it's actually from the Bible. Everyone was like, this is really good. And I'm like,
Way to go, TJ.
It's from the Bible. Actually, I said it that way because that's the way it's written in a brand new line on the album. In a song, Deja Intendo. Tongue is the rudder, steers the whole ship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I felt like I would read the whole verse from which that came in James. It's from James 3:1 to 12. And I'm reading it in the Message. I felt like, because so many people were like, that was so good. I feel like, why don't we read it? So it can be so good again for all of us, but in more detail, written in the holy scriptures of the Lord. Wow. Our God is an awesome God.
I would like that version of the Bible, please.
The holy scriptures.
It's like the longest abbreviation ever.
What version of the Bible do you read? The holy scriptures of the Lord our God is an awesome God, Alpha and Omega, beginning and end. What scriptures do you read? Oh, the Message? Cool. The best joke is what scripture do you read? And you say ESV, extra sanctified version. But I'm going to read from the Message.
Okay.
Don't be in any rush to become a teacher, my friends. Teaching is highly responsible work. Teachers are held to the strictest standards, and none of us is perfectly qualified. We get it wrong nearly every time we open our mouths. If you could find someone whose speech was perfectly true, you'd have a perfect person in perfect control of life. A bit in the mouth of horse controls the whole horse. A small rudder on the huge ship in the hands of a skilled captain sets a course in the face of the strongest winds. A word out of your mouth may seem of no account, but it can accomplish nearly anything or destroy it. It only takes a spark, remember, to set off a forest fire. A careless or wrong placed word of your mouth can do that. By our speech, we can ruin the world, turn harmony to chaos, throw mud on a reputation, send the whole world up in smoke, and go up in smoke with it. Smoke right from the pit of hell.
Wow.
Yeah.
From the pit. Truly.
From the pit, yeah. I fell in the pit. This is scary. You can tame a tiger, but you can't tame a tongue. It's never been done. The tongue runs wild. A wanton killer.
Were you going to say a wonton?
Yeah.
Sounds delicious.
I am the wonton killer.
Where'd you get your name? The Bible.
You felt my hesitation. You felt my hesitation on it. And you know, oh, God.
Okay. I can't. Oh, there's no way.
All right, here we go. Lock it up. With our tongues we bless God our Father. With the same tongue we curse the very men and women he made in his image. This is not funny. Curses and blessings of the same mouth. Church giggles. My friends, this can't go on. A spring doesn't gush fresh water one day and brackish water the next, does it? Apple trees don't bear strawberries, do they? Raspberry bushes don't bear apples, do they? You're not going to dip into a polluted mud hole and get a cup of clean, cool water, are you? Anyway,
swamp people would know. They're in those polluted mud holes.
Anyways,
that is
such a powerful piece of scripture. I mean, all scripture is powerful, but that just like, and that really, we'll get into that a little bit with kindness and being kind to others and how your words are a huge part of that. But people really connected with the tongue is the rudder, it steers the whole ship. And so I just wanted to be like, that is not from me. And it's not from the band Brand New. It's from the Bible. Boom.
It's from Jesus.
It's from Jesus.
I don't know. Is it written in red? It's literally from Jesus.
And then the comment of the week goes to Stephen Marquardt, who we were given a hard time for just drinking hot or cold bean water like a psycho. with no happiness added. And he said, first he had a really good point to make, but I'm not going to read that part. I'm just going to read this part. My name is pronounced Mar Quart, like a quart of milk, which I do not use in my coffee. Love, your friendly neighborhood psychopath, Steven. Well, we love you, Steven. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a good sport about it. And thank you for joining the conversation. It really means a lot to us. We say that every week because it does. It encourages us to get all this set up, keep going, show up every week.
Yep.
For Brooke to do her makeup once a week.
I know.
It's great. Speaking of weeks, how was your week, babe?
My week was good. The sun came out. We're on day 2 of weather above 60 degrees.
I like it.
And I think we're all going to make it.
We're going to make it.
Yeah.
We're going to make it, babe. Yeah. Week was good. It's interesting. I feel like as we've really kind of gotten into the rhythm of our weeks right now in this season with June going to school and all that stuff, it feels like there's not much new to talk about because we do the same thing every week. And some people might hear that and be like, that sounds boring or not fun.
It's not identical.
It's not identical, but like we know where we land in the days. And it's just like, it's
very comforting
and kind of freeing to just be like, I'm not, because I look forward to all of them for different reasons. Anyways, what are you laughing at me?
I'm going back to
The wonton killer? I am the wonton killer. Fear me. Mojo's Asian Cuisine.
.com. It's delicious. Oh, man.
The one thing that we did do is we purchased a 1-month membership to a rec center that has an indoor pool.
Yes.
So,
well, at the end of February, I was just like, there's a whole other month, March, before it's warm.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
it's
Before it's
not
like warm.
Normally warm like this in March.
And so
we have to do something with these children.
So that's added to the rhythm. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays, Brooke goes just with the girls. Thursdays, it's a family affair. Feeling weird.
Did your voice crack a lot when you were
No,
that
but
age?
I had a friend, Brett Van Roden.
Oh, don't say his name.
Yeah, his name is Brett Van Roden. You can look him up. He's very handsome. He's
is.
very, very handsome. And he's got a twin, Chad, who's equally as handsome.
He's already married, though.
Chad is married. Brett, I don't think Brett is. So
I would
anyways,
hope we would know.
Yeah, I would hope I was invited. Dang it, Brett. The wonton killer will strike. Brett's voice cracked a lot. Like a lot. And it was
My brothers did some, but I don't think it was I think it was a normal amount.
Yeah. The one is too many for a guy at that age. You're just instantly embarrassed. Actually, last week after the Swamp Dragons game, when I was getting in the car, I made my voice crack on purpose.
Yeah.
And I got a pretty good laugh. Like, good game, everyone. Good game, everyone. We lost 3-4.
Well, I remember the transition from when my brother would answer the phone and people would think it was my mom, because he's little, and they'd be like, hey, Joyce. And he's like, this is Taylor, So when they were like, oh, clearly it's a boy.
It's a man child.
It's a man. It's a man.
Man. So we got, I don't know where I am in the notes. We got the rec center passes. They've been great. And then this Friday for our family movie, it was Sunny's turn to pick. We opened up Disney Plus. She saw The Last Dragon. She said, I want that one. We splurged $30.
We did.
We did.
Early access, baby.
We went for it. We're living that kind of life. We're living the car wash membership early access life now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's a great spot to be.
But my mom and dad were giving me a hard time. They're like, "Oh, you're so fancy," and I'm like, "Hey, family dinner and family movie night are a huge deal in our house, and so I'm not gonna do that every week. Thankfully, movies don't come out every week like that.
Yeah.
But it was okay. The movie was good.
The girls loved it.
The girls loved it. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the lack of music in it really took it from like a 4.5 stars to like a 3 stars. Wouldn't you say? Like, would you put it at like 3 stars?
I mean, it was cute and enjoyable, but it wasn't, like, in my opinion, like it was no Moana.
It was no Moana. It was no Tangled.
That was excellent.
Yeah. And I think that's the music.
Yeah, probably.
I think the music adds like a little bit more heart to a character that just dialogue can. And I actually felt like throughout the movie, Raya wasn't the best written character. I felt like there were other characters who you connected with more. Like I don't want to give it away.
Them and them and them.
Yeah, but like those two. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's worth it. I don't know if it's worth the $30.
It is on family dinner night.
It is on family dinner night. Amen to that. But we did that, and now we ordered the samples for the spring collection. 3 new designs, one of which you can see in the show notes as a wallpaper, and 6 reprints. Some are old school. And today we are going to do all the segments because the design says be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to yourself. I say backwards every time. And it's pretty self-explanatory, although I wrote a ton of notes about it. So it's
Bambi, right?
yeah. But I don't know. I felt like we should have some fun today. Wonton Killer kind of got that.
My voice is feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, and
so
I
do
just
feel like I can
feel like
talk
the
a
sun
little
is
more.
shining, the tank is clean.
Tank is clean.
We are ready to just step into spring, and so I felt like this would be a good podcast to like just have a little bit of fun. But honestly, what's interesting is I feel like when we do that, we find these little nuggets in conversation with each other.
I'm familiar with nuggets. Yes.
That really go, like that really kind of impact people. So if you're one of those people that's like, get over the chit chat so we can get to the meat,
Right.
I don't know. Are there listeners like that? I hope not.
Maybe.
But if you are, stick around. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so we're doing all the segments, starting with strong feelings.
Do it.
Okay, my strong feelings are I love the Babylon Bee, the satire Christian news site. I think satire is super funny. I'm a big fan of satire, just period. But 2, they're so good at it. And
It's very funny.
They're both good at, so they have 2 sites, the Babylon Bee, which is total satire, and then they have the one called
meaning it's not real.
It's not real.
Then it's made to look real.
It's made to look real.
It's
It's
like
not
the
real.
Onion or whatever.
Yeah, the Onion, which doesn't exist anymore.
What?
I don't think so. Maybe it does in some sort of digital capacity, but I think the Babylon Bee they're the leader now.
Wow.
In satire, I think.
Buzz.
So they have Babylon Bee, which I think is so funny. Then they have It's Not the Bee, which are actual real stories
That you think
you think this cannot be real, and they are, which is that's
also
a
funny.
It's funny. That's a little sadder.
Yeah.
But my strong feelings are love the Babylon Bee. Specifically, like this past weekend, I was with my dad. We were at my sister's house, and I pulled up their Instagram and was just scrolling through, showing him because I like remembered one that made me laugh, and I wanted to show him. And we scrolled through like just the headline, like the Instagram has like the fake headline and the picture, and he was laughing so hard. And when I can get my dad to laugh so hard, it just fills me with so much joy and excitement for life.
Wontons.
He has a good laugh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and it doesn't come out often. I would say my dad's probably, a little bit more reserved than the average person. And so like you got to really get him going to get him laughing hard. And the Babylon Bee did that. So those are my feelings, and they're strong. They're strong feelings.
My strong feelings are that I wrote nothing is better than sunshine. Maybe I should say almost nothing is better than sunshine.
Ever heard of Jesus?
Exactly my point.
Ever heard of the Holy Scriptures of the Lord Jesus Christ, our
Yep.
God is an awesome God, Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end?
I have heard
Have
of
you ever heard of that?
I have, yes.
Okay.
I have the first advanced copy downstairs. I'm an influencer. I got it first.
I just have to post 18 stories, 16 feed posts.
The requirements are insane. It requires my whole life to be devoted. But I'm here for it.
I like it.
But sunshine is great.
Yes.
Especially when you just feel like
Like,
it's never going to be warm again. I'm never going to take my kids outside again.
yeah. Yeah, yesterday was warm
What are we doing
for the first time
in life?
And our kids were outside basically all day, and it was
June
like
was so tired at bedtime. She was complaining about her legs hurting. I think they just ached
from running.
from just running.
Yeah. Your kid gets like dead bone syndrome.
Yeah.
It's like carrying him to do
From me.
everything. Come on, kid. We just got to brush those teeth. So those are your feelings. And they're strong. Strong feelings. Now we're going to do Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore, Rushmore, Rushmore of mountains of Rushmore. I'm free. It's spring. He's free. It's spring. No lightning. Well, I guess maybe there would be more lightning in spring.
In April.
But he's
Spring
okay.
Mayflowers.
He's all right now.
Okay.
Of spring summer music. So like starts to get warmer. Which artist do you go to when that happens?
Okay.
You go first.
Me. Ben Rector. Lights. Rosie Golan? Golan? I don't know how to say her last name.
Golan.
Golan?
Yeah, I think it's Golan.
Probably. Golan. I was like, go long, like a football.
That's how actually she got it.
Is it?
She was a star wide receiver.
That makes sense.
And Rosie Golong. But she got hurt, and then that's when she got
drop the G.
No, she got hurt, and then while she was
Golan.
recovering in the hospital, she got a guitar as a gift.
Yeah,
and that's
maybe even a ukulele.
That's what started her music career.
And then that's probably totally accurate.
I think that's exactly how it happened.
I think she's from like another country or something. I don't know. And then Lord, but specifically the album that like
the big album
Royals was on.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's had a couple big ones. I want to say it was her first. I don't know if that's actually
it was her first hit album.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd rather be wrong.
That one has tennis court on it.
It's good.
I know.
That's got
and
good.
I'm not saying the other albums aren't good. I just haven't listened to them as much as I've listened
that one's
to
like your go-to summer one.
Spring, summer.
For me, it's Owl City. That's the number one.
Yeah.
Warm weather, I'm putting on Owl City. It's been my cleaning jams the past couple of nights. The Starting Line, which is like emo pop punk from back in the day. Taking Back Sunday, which I kind of listen to all year long, but I basically like rock music, like faster paced rock music. Owl City's kind of the exception.
Punk.
That's like pop punk rock. When
He's
it
not
gets
punk, he's like sugar pop.
yeah, pop, comma, punk,
Oh, sorry.
comma, pop punk, comma, rock.
Period.
And then Judah and the Lion. Also a year-round thing, but
maybe certain albums or songs.
yeah, like I really like their first album in the summer. It's like a little bit more folky.
Yeah.
Anyways, those are my Mount Rushmore of spring and summer. Let us know yours in the comments below. Boom. Next, what I Googled.
Search. Ding. Those are the results showing up.
Yeah, the results ding.
Okay.
And yeah, so go ahead, babe.
Oh, you want me to go first? You keep throwing everything to me. Mine would be Tara Westover family photos.
Okay, explain, because you got to explain this.
So I'm almost done, but I'm listening to the book Educated, which is a memoir written by Tara Westover.
Okay.
Who I think this book came out a couple years ago. I don't think it's brand new.
Yeah. Brand new to you.
Brand new to me. Like super duper bestseller, acclaimed, all the things. She's been on all the shows. So she was raised like survivalist off the grid in Idaho.
That's a state.
Just like crazy.
Mormon family,
crazy stories.
Yeah.
She is not any of those things anymore. She has since gone to school and done all these things. Like she didn't set foot in a classroom until she was 17.
Yeah.
But she was homeschooled, but no.
Yeah.
They were just home.
Yeah.
Surviving in a junkyard. It's insane. Anyway, so I was just
and like when you're listening to it, or you're like, this is fiction. Like, is it that extreme or?
No, because I like books like this. And
right.
so I have read and or listened to enough like just crazy kind of dysfunctional family things. And so I know there's people out there like this, especially back like hers was like 90s through the early 2000s, like Y2K, some of the other Mormon
Y2K.
families that got like, what's the really famous one that got raided? Anyway, they talk about it in this book.
Okay.
And like how that's really sent her dad over the edge to think like it's going to happen to us. Like
prepare.
Like if you have any interest in listening to it, T, it's insane. Or reading it or whatever.
Yeah.
But the girl or the lady who reads it does a great job.
Okay. So you need to see her.
Almost all the names have been changed. And so it's like there's some stuff on the internet, but not a lot.
Right.
And it's clearly very highly Googled. And I was one of them.
Yeah.
Baked oatmeal recipe on Walk in Love. So I always have to find my own recipes, which I'm so glad I post them because then I can go back and make them.
Yep.
Gandalf. Because you were like, how do you spell Gandalf?
Yeah, because I was doing a story.
So I Googled it.
Yep.
Does Target still print photos?
Do they?
Ours doesn't.
Ours does. Okay.
I think maybe some do, but
what do you need photos printed for?
I didn't really find an answer, which was frustrating. Those 2 frames in the bathroom.
Okay, nice.
Papa John's menu. Obviously.
This last one is my favorite.
I needed to know. Lastly.
Because this might be this is actually going to lead into a strong feeling for me.
Okay.
Get ready.
What exactly are Elsa's powers?
Okay. Elsa is
Yes.
not my favorite Disney character.
I know.
I have very strong feelings about her being a hero. She does not have a lot of attributes of a hero.
Yeah, not really.
Not really. And her powers seem to be whatever they need to be.
She has ice powers. That's like stated
Yeah,
in
ice
some
powers.
line of dialogue.
Until there's that one short that we watch with the girls where she just
Well, I hated
changes.
the first one.
Yeah, she just changes her dress color. Your dress isn't made out of ice.
Yeah.
It's made out of
And then
fabric.
she gives Anna a new birthday dress.
Yeah, it bugs me.
It's not consistent.
Yeah, it's not consistent. I have strong feelings about it. She was really mean to her sister for a lot of years, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I want my girls.
Like
to
I would read Anna's memoir. It would probably be
yeah,
a little.
Anna should be way more messed up than
Yeah.
she is.
That's for sure.
Anyways, taking it too literally, I guess. I Googled, ding, chick. I don't know what the chick was, but Mark Rober. So we're doing in our rhythm Wednesday night, which is tonight, the night that we record. We do family YouTube night. So we try to just watch something a little more educational. And lately, it's just been Mark Rober. So today, I actually Googled that so June could pick out the videos that she wanted to watch tonight. We've also been doing the slow-mo guys. But if you guys have like any educational YouTube stuff that you really like to watch with your kids, please let me know what it is. We've done Zach King, which isn't educational, but it's just like entertaining the magic guy. But yeah, clean. You know, it's hard, like, because you never know what's clean.
Yeah, and sometimes it's the most subtle thing that you're
Yeah.
just like, oh,
Ooh, yikes! Hope she didn't notice that one. So yeah, so Google that. I Googled the Canon M50 to see how much it costs because we're giving one away. I think today's the last day, or today's we're announcing it. I don't know.
Today isn't the day you're listening.
Yeah, we'll say today's
You
the
just
last
said
day.
Today was Wednesday.
Today, Monday
Monday.
is the last day to win maybe a Canon M50. I also Googled the 7 Fae family, which I mistyped. It should have been 7 Day family, trying to share that e-course. And then plugged in Raya and the Last Dragon review. So plugged in is like the focus on the family, kind of like Common Sense, but a little bit more Christian.
Yeah.
So I always just like to run the movies through those filters before I'm like, yeah, let's watch this.
Yeah.
That is what I Googled. And now the last segment of the day, what I highlighted. Oh yeah, I don't have mine.
That's okay. I got you.
Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
If you're like ready, you go first.
Okay, so I am reading. So far, I'm on track. 2 books a month.
Yep.
Not on track with the TOCU courses. Haven't figured out where that lands in the rhythm.
Yeah.
Because by the end of the day, when I can watch something, it's like I don't know if my brain can handle theology that late at night.
Yeah.
Because it's like I just did bedtime.
Yeah.
So that took all the energy that I
Yeah.
had left.
With Dead Bones McGee.
Yeah.
I know.
But I am on track with the 2 books. So I've read 4 books this year. This is my 5th. Family Revision by Gandalf, Jeremy Pryor. And it's basically like the manual for having a family team. I've never read it before, but I've heard Jeremy talk about a lot of these things. The book is amazing. Like I keep
Is
telling.
the book brand new or no?
No, it's not brand new.
Oh.
It's been out for a while. I don't think there's a year on it, but I've never read it.
God,
But it's basically like how 2019. So it's not old, but didn't come out last week.
You
2019.
didn't get the first advance copy?
No,
As
not
in-
like
okay.
I'm not an influencer.
Okay.
So it is basically, so far I'm this far in, about maybe a little bit less than halfway. And it's basically a playbook for building a family team. Basically, it takes the classical family view, which has been used for all of ancient time, the Western family view, which is relatively new, and saying both of these are incomplete for various reasons. Classical families have a lot of strengths that Western families do not. Western families have some strengths that classical families do not, but both have been, Western families neglected a lot of classical family things, which are important, but neither are complete. How would God want us to raise a family? The family team model is sort of that to Jeremy. And it's so good. Like I could easily highlight every chapter.
That's like the book I'm reading.
And so I feel like because of that, I don't have much highlighted.
Confusing for the segment.
Right. But I do have some stuff highlighted. I'm trying to find it. Hold on, let me find it. Here we go. family is designed not only to be an environment, but also to do something. Considering the verbs embedded in our mission statement: multiply, be fruitful, fill, subdue, and rule. Families are designed to function like a team as they grow in number, multiply, deepen in quality, are fruitful, expand, fill, create order, subdue, and lead, rule. That's what God has designed family to do. So good. I'm skipping forward. He's talking about dads. A father who sees himself as a member of a family team views work as part of how he is helping his family succeed, not as a separate endeavor around which he builds his own individual identity. Every morning when he goes to work, it is as if the family is sending him out on a mission to strengthen them by bringing back resources. And so much of this first part is about like how Western culture, the individual is so valued over the family. And so like, and he uses a good analogy of like, if you have two siblings, often they think that they are individuals as in a family. And so they are vying for family resources. And so they don't have a relationship to each other as well as they should, because they see each other as competition. Like if I'm vying for mom and dad's attention, money, stuff, etc., then any more siblings are a threat to that,
right?
Which is like really not good to build family. And that's why largely in America, you see family kind of really struggling in the West.
Yeah.
All right, here's a big part. This I couldn't even highlight. I just did the brackets.
Yeah.
This means when a husband begins to identify more and more with his family, a mother will begin to experience her role as part of the team instead of the family being her own private project. As her husband shows leadership and begins to set vision and to work with and through his family instead of apart from it, she will be deeply impacted by the team spirit and discover, often for the first time, the true and deepest purpose of her feminine nature. Instead of being the only one who sacrifices, she will see her husband laying down his life to love her and their children. When the husband and wife enjoy God's design for the family, they experience increasing oneness. So it's just like full of just so good. It's just all so good.
Yeah.
And I'm going to buy a copy for every member of my family.
Nice.
Boom. So that's what I highlighted.
That's awesome. Okay, so I'm reading Are My Kids on Track? Oh, sorry. I know. It doesn't feel great. Are My Kids on Track? The 12 emotional, social, and spiritual milestones your child needs to reach. So the basic introduction is all about how, of course, in America, specifically, but in the
West,
in a lot of countries, it is very, very common for us to push like educational things.
Yep.
Everybody learns how to read, right? Do all these things, and we track it. There's ways of tracking it and knowing where your kid's at.
And it's like, by kindergarten, they must know their letter. Like, there's very...
Totally.
Yep.
And they're not saying that's bad. They're just saying like it
exists.
It is a big priority in most people's parenting journeys for their children. And then we do similar things as far as like physical development with sports and just activities and like, are they on track? And they do
riding a bike, swimming,
all those like skills. And then we've got no way of like talking about or tracking their emotional, social, and spiritual milestones.
Right.
Like, so they pose the question, like, what if we made it as important as those other things? One of the lines was even like, what if we made it as important as sports in America? Exactly. And then he was like, don't get mad. But one of the main things in the introduction is talking about how kids, and so the people who wrote this book, they're family therapists in Nashville.
Yep.
So they've worked with kids for like 40 years or something insane. We believe, so this is what I highlighted. We believe kids learn more through observation than information. They need to watch us moving towards healthy adulthood, emotionally, socially, and spiritually, in order to have confidence and hope in their own journey. And that is just, that is just so true. I mean, that's like, to give an example, that's like somebody who eventually their parents get divorced and then they believe like, oh my word, it's going to happen to me. There's nothing I can do to change it. If it happened to them, it'll happen to me. Yeah. And that idea of like, man, if we, and there's 3 authors of this book. One of them was on a podcast I was listening to, and he was sort of speaking on behalf of their counseling service. And he was saying, we really believe that we can only ever take our children as far on their journey as we've gone ourselves. And I was just like,
oh gosh.
Yep.
Constantly being refined. Right. It's cool. It's fun. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, rock tumbler of life, right? And so, I mean, goodness, there's so much, but that was probably the biggest thing that stood out. Just like, I need to keep
and we're gonna do
growing, learning, doing all the things I'm doing, so that whether I can apply that to my kids right now, or I can apply that to them when they're 34,
right?
Like, to not just stall out as an adult and a parent and think, I got it, I know it all.
Yeah.
Like, to kind of just hit like a, not coast, what's the?
Cruise control.
Cruise control. Nice. Thank you. I was like, auto drive? That's, my car definitely does
Tesla?
not.
No, we don't have a Tesla.
And the nice thing about this book is they really break it down into like what it's like for boys and what it's like for girls. And they say, yes, there's similarities, but if you can approach them separately and differently, like
you should.
You absolutely should.
Which is another thing that culture doesn't really encourage anymore.
Right.
Which is.
But it's so fascinating. And I even see it like knowing our girls or like nieces and nephews, just how differently they process the world and function, and the lies they believe even at a young age are different for boys and girls. So then the last thing I'll read that I highlighted is, relationship is the bedrock of emotional development for our children. It's the fertile soil that allows them to grow into emotionally healthy adults. So like, again, to be the example, I mean, I don't know how many times, and I'm probably only 50, 60 pages in this book, they've said like, no, your kids are not listening to you. Yeah. Like,
they're watching you.
They're watching you. What you are saying, they're not, not entirely, of course, but like, that is not how you get across to your kids.
We were in the car, I think, waiting for Starbucks, and it was like, I showed you this tweet that was like screenshotted. Yeah. And it was something like along the lines of like, we always say kids are resilient. You know, why are we always saying kids are resilient when we have a whole generation of kids trying to recover from childhood wounds?
Right.
And it was just like, that was so powerful to me. And I do think kids are resilient in a lot of ways. Like,
I mean, we've said it on the podcast, like how do you survive an 11-hour flight to Hawaii? Like kids you just do it and they'll be fine and they'll sleep on the airport. But
emotionally, I think because we don't have those trackers in place, we think that they're just resilient through it. And then,
through all things.
And then in their 30s, they're, going to therapy 5 times a week because they can't get a job because they're too scared of everyone, like, or whatever, like fill in the blank. And so you're just like, it needs to be noted, and, you need to walk through it. And it's interesting, like you reading this book, me reading this book, it feels like some of the answers that they're posing here are found here. Like, the deconstruction of the family and the lack of legacy put into our modern day family eliminates relationships that would help develop our young children. And that's why we try to make it a point to have our kids be very involved with their grandparents. Like our grandparents, our parents have things to teach our kids that we do not, and so we want them to see that. And so, it's just like those, and we're going to do a switch swap. We're going to do a classic switch swap when we're done.
Oh, of the books.
You're going to read that one.
I thought you meant right now.
I'm going to read this one.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what that means.
Anyways, do you have more?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Are you sure?
Okay.
Let's just do it.
Kids need a front row seat to seeing the grown-ups they trust make mistakes, take ownership, and seek to repair the relationship. So at the end of every chapter, it's like practical ideas. And it's real, like, get a feelings chart, put it on your fridge. Watch these movies, read these books. It's like literally super practical things. And that was the one I highlighted from the section on perspective. And that's one thing we do at dinner. We ask the kids their highlight of the day, and we usually ask if there's any hard points of the day. Yeah. Just because we want them to be able to express those things, even if they're little. Even if, like yesterday for Sunny, it was she scratched her toe. Like she fell. Yeah. She was barefoot. She fell and scratched her feet. Yeah. And it was hard. And but if she can tell us about that, and this is sort of from probably, I'm sure that they talk about it here, but I remember it from parenting with Heart. It's like, if they can tell you about their scratched toe, they can tell you about know you're listening
and there and going to be empathetic and comforting.
And not just offer a solution, but
when their heart breaks at 16, or when someone, hits them or whatever, like, they then know that you're there for them then. And so it's really, really important. One thing that I do, it's a practice that I have in place. It's like when June or Sunny asks, hey dad, can I tell you something? Or hey dad, can I ask you something?
Which is like every 8 seconds.
Yeah. Cause kids do that. Like they just want to know. Yeah. I always answer with the word always, because I want them to know that the answer to that question is always.
Yeah.
You can always ask me something and you can always tell me something.
Yeah.
From here until the day I die.
Yeah.
So.
Like when Sunny said she wanted to wear Raya's head.
Yes.
And she's watching like the first 10 minutes of the movie. She's so serious. She's watching it. I like her head. She's looking right at the TV. And I look over at her like, oh, okay, cool. I want to wear her head and she can wear mine and I will share with her.
Like,
and I was like,
you've just described one of the greatest movies of all time called Face Off.
You're brilliant.
It's already been done. All right, so that was all the segments. Nice.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. We don't do them all the time, but there they all were. And now we're going to talk about being kind to others and being kind to yourself. For Brooke, this is sort of like a...
No notes.
No notes.
No notes.
No notes?
No notes.
No notes.
No notes.
No notes.
No.
Just love it so much.
It just gets so
the reason
amplified.
we didn't know what we were going to talk about yesterday, and this sometimes happens. It's not the case every week, but it is the case some of the weeks where we don't know, and then I come up here and I'm like, I'll just start typing and see what comes out, and so I know the notes because I type them out.
Yeah.
Brooke is...
I have not read them yet.
So this is a little bit of no notes for her, but
I like it.
I kind of know where I'm going. So
Okay.
we'll see. We're just,
Are you saying see the world or see world?
we'll see. So being kind to others, obviously. So I feel like this phrase, you and me have probably heard a sermon on being kind to your barista or being kind to the person that checks you out at the grocery store or being kind to the mailman. And I'm not negating those.
The vibe is like, don't negate your small interactions. They all add up. They matter.
Yes,
and they do.
And they very much do. I do feel like that's pretty common sense, though. I'm going to call that common sense kindness. Like, if you are not kind to the person making your coffee, you have some deeper issues that I think you need to deal with. And I don't think a sermon about being kind to that person is going to help you realize, oh, I need to be kind to that person. Like, you're messed up. I don't think that's very many people listening to this podcast. I think a lot of people in this sphere, the swamp walkers,
Maybe.
That's close. The Brooke Courtney fan club, I think that they are very good at being kind. And I have some proof of this because there's a company called Threadbird that handles our fulfillment and they handle our customer service. And they do this for lots of companies. We're not the only one that they do this for.
Right.
And without fail, Sophia, who handles our customer service mostly, she's like the primary person, will tell us over and over again that our customers are the kindest and nicest and most patient customers that she deals with. And she deals with a lot from a lot of different companies in a lot of different areas. And so I know,
really makes me
I know,
jealous.
it's so refreshing to hear that.
Yeah.
Because that's what we try to do.
Yeah.
We try to be those people, and we're glad that we've built a community of those people. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like we need to talk about like that common sense kindness to this group of people.
Right.
You already do a great job of it. Keep doing it. Those small interactions do matter and they make a big impact. And especially in the day of like division and divisiveness and everybody's on a team, being kind to people on the other team is huge. So keep it up. So I don't really want to talk about that, even though I just did for a little bit. None of that matters.
None of that matters. Oh, okay. Why was I tracking with your story for the last 20 minutes then? Cool.
So, but I do think that there's a harder group of people to be kind to consistently. And those are the people that you live with. Like the people that we live with, our husbands, our wives, our kids, our parents, our roommates get the best of us, but they also most definitely 100% of the time get the worst of us. Yeah. And so there are times where it is hard to be kind to Brooke. And Brooke...
What?
Brooke,
I'm totally kidding.
Brooke is better at kindness than I am. Brooke more kind than me. And so she might not have to say that statement, but I have to say that statement. And so there are two things that I do.
Oh, no, I could say that
okay.
statement.
Okay. Thanks.
I just, there are times when it's hard to be kind to anybody.
Yeah.
I think I'm just really good at stuffing my feelings inside. So you think I'm cool, but I'm actually on fire.
I'm actually burning with the rage of 1,000 suns. I am Sunny in her all red outfit.
Oh.
And so I think that there are two ways that Brooke and I really practice kindness with each other, and they start before like the smile and the kindness actually take place. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
being kind to someone is more than just smiling and being cheerful towards
nice
someone,
or
being nice. Yeah.
courteous.
Kind. So kindness to me, like when Brooke says, I stuff him inside,
Love, joy, peace, patience,
kindness. It's a
Right?
fruit of the spirit. Yeah.
I didn't just make that up.
Yeah.
That's definitely in there.
That's
Okay.
definitely in there. We did
Okay.
a whole podcast on it.
Well, I know. And I've known those since like 3rd grade, and yet I just panicked. Is it?
Wow. So, but Brooke just even saying like she stuffs it down inside, which she doesn't. But kindness in me is pulling that out. Like kindness
Yeah.
towards Brooke isn't allowing her to live that way and helping her kind of bring that stuff out. But there are two things that I think are really, really good ways to practice kindness with the people that are in your life daily. Be kind to others. Be kind to the people under your roof. One is not to get easily offended. I once heard someone say that being offended is going off the end. Offended. I don't know if that's really where it comes from, but he's like, and when I go off the end, I am not rational. I am not
off
the end, you know.
Right, I see what you're saying.
And he was, he's like using a lot of motions with his hands. I'm going off the end.
Okay.
I'm off the deep end. Yeah.
Down into the-
Yeah. Not good.
Okay.
Yeah. The lightning is striking. The clouds are forming.
Yep.
Like it's just not good. And so when he goes off the end, he's not rational. He's not compassionate. He's not empathetic. And so those, if you're easily offended and you're constantly offended, even by little things, like, even if Brooke rolls her eyes or makes a gesture or whatever, like something that I could be like, I'm offended. And that is very hard for me.
Right.
Like I get easily offended from body language specifically.
Yes.
And from a lack of excitement, I get offended from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it's all stuff that I'm working on.
I
Still
know.
being refined in the rock tumbler of life.
Yep.
But try not to get offended and not getting offended by those closest to you, because I often think that they don't, like 99% of the time, Brooke doesn't mean it that way.
No.
Maybe 99.8% of the time.
Yeah.
She doesn't mean that way. And so I shouldn't take that way, but that takes work. And when I am offended from Brooke, I'm not kind to her. Like I get into a defensive posture. And when you're being defensive towards someone, kindness isn't an attribute that you're drawing from.
Yeah.
You're drawing from fear, you're drawing from anxiety, you're drawing from hurt, like whatever it is, whatever the chair behind you is, it's not kindness. And I do think that the chair behind you can be kindness, and so that's one quick way that I do it, is like, I try not to be offended, and I am not good at that.
You are way better than you used to be.
And I'm way better than I used to be.
I will say that.
And so
I think, can I say something about not being
absolutely.
offended? Unless you were
no.
going to keep talking about it. For me, I think that not being offended, because this goes for anybody, looks like sometimes I'm like processing this right now. Sometimes I'm offended by what I think they meant. Like
Right.
almost, which is so interesting because they talk about it in this book, specifically for girls and women.
Yeah.
It's both natural to us and it's learned
Yeah.
to like dramatize the drama. So just like, well, I'm going to say something even more extreme
Yeah.
to get attention or to prove my point
Right.
or to prove I'm hurt
Yeah.
or whatever. And so like, I'm not always offended by like the first thing somebody says. Like if I just took their statement as is,
Right.
that's not offensive.
Right.
And then I sort of spiral with it for like
Yep.
the next few hours.
And all
And
of a sudden,
it's like like I'm having a conversation we've never actually had.
yeah.
And then I'm offended.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Right.
okay, rein it in, Brooke.
Yeah. And the
Like,
person has no idea that that's
oh my
happening.
goodness, no.
And then
And
when you have that conversation,
didn't mean that at all.
right. And then they're kind of shocked by your lack of kindness when you come back.
defensiveness,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so not be easily offended. And I think a way to not be offended easily is sort of my second point of being kind to others, is trying to, especially, and I'm specifically speaking to the people that you're close with and that you're around all the time, is to understand expectations. And we talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
But this is the reason that most people are offended. This is the reason most people get mad. This is the reason most people get angry. This is most people spiral into those feelings, is because they don't know expectations. They have no idea what expectations are. They don't know if their expectations are being met or if they're meeting someone's expectations. So there's all this gray area to just like swirl around in and get swirly feelings about.
Yeah.
And so having an understanding of expectations is so huge to having a kind spirit, because when you understand expectations, you know that like they don't mean anything else. If you ask me to do something for you and I understand those expectations,
Right.
I know that if you're frustrated or angry later, it's not because of me.
Right.
And so I don't have to go on the defensive and stop being kind to you because I'm unsure about what I did or didn't do. Like, I know that like, oh, I know it's not for me. So there must be some real hurt there.
Yeah.
Let me try to be kind and figure out what it is.
Yeah.
Instead, like if we don't understand expectations and Brooke is upset, I might think like, oh, what did I do? What didn't I do? And there are still times where I do think that.
Yeah.
But if I understand the expectations, I'm quicker then to ask her, hey, did I do something that I'm not aware of?
Yeah.
Because what I am aware of, what I know you expected from me, I know that I lived up to that, or I'm working on that, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a weird way, I think, to link to kindness. But for me, it works. I don't know. Do you feel like that makes sense?
Yeah. I mean, like practicing kindness in communication. Like you go back even further from expectations. Well, how do you know somebody's expectations? It's because we've talked about it.
I have that written down.
Is that on the next page?
It says, I think understanding expectations leads to better communication, and better communication leads to a kinder spirit.
Oh, that's way better.
Yeah.
Said, written.
So, well, I got to type it out.
Those words better.
And so again, and this is a question that Brooke and I ask each other all the time.
What does it? No. What
are your expectations?
What do you want for? Okay. Lunch.
What burger are we in? So many wontons. Do you want wontons? Samsonite. I knew it'd start with an S though. And so that's just one way that we do it is we understand each other's expectations and we try not to be offended. And I think if you can do those two things well, kindness will be easier to grasp, easier to go to quickly.
Yeah.
And like we talked about last week, like if you're practicing a critical spirit in a restaurant, you're going to practice a critical spirit at home. Yeah. And so if you're practicing if kindness isn't your first go-to at home, I think it works the reverse way. If kindness isn't your go-to with your kids and your wife and your spouse and all that kind of stuff, will kindness be your go-to with your barista? And so like, I actually think...
it could go either way.
Yeah.
For some people, they're going, well, I can be kind to this person, but I'm not going to be kind to my in-laws.
Yeah.
And then the other way around.
And so,
for some people.
Like all things that we say, just like you got to flex that muscle of kindness. And for me, the expectations and the not being offended are two ways that I kind of battle lack of kindness in my life. So that is basically being kind to others. And I have a couple of quotes and verses I want to read about that. This is from St. Basil, St. Basil. I don't know. You know how to say it? We'll say St. Basil.
Okay. A basilisk?
Like St. Basilisk fang. A tree is known by its fruit, a man by his deeds. A good deed is never lost. He who sows courtesy reaps friendship, and he who plants kindness gathers love. Proverbs 21:21. Whoever pursues righteousness and kindness will find life, righteousness, and honor. Proverbs 31:26. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teach of kindness is on her tongue. Job 6:14. He who withholds kindness from a friend forsakes the Almighty. I really love that because like that is kind of what we're talking about today. Like because we do withhold kindness when we're mad or offended or upset or frustrated or our expectations aren't met.
Yeah. And
so if we talked about our expectations, we wouldn't be as quick to withhold that kindness from someone in our lives. And then Galatians 5:22-26. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such thing there is no law. And those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. If we live by the Spirit, let us also keep in step with the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another, envying one another. And so like kindness, as a believer and follower of Jesus, kindness should be radiating from us. And I don't know often if it is. I think niceness does. I think a lot of Christians radiate niceness, politeness, which I'm not saying.
Very different. Though.
It's very different, and that's one of those like tension points where it's like you kind of have a hard time really explaining the difference. But I think in your daily life, oh, I'm just being polite and I'm not really being kind at all.
Right.
And so I would say try, when you feel that tension, obviously lean towards kindness, because a fruit of the Spirit is not politeness, it's kindness. And so, yeah, so just really try to practice being kind with the people in your life. Like, make an effort of it this week, make an effort of it today, this hour or whatever, like, and really try to not be offended, understand those expectations so that a kinder spirit can kind of radiate through your home. The next one is being kind to yourself. So we wrote that on the shirt: be kind to others, be kind to yourself. And I think that this one, I think that there's a lot of ways to be kind to yourself. But I think that it's easier to understand how we're not kind to ourselves. I think all of us, depending on who we are, how we were raised, our personality, et cetera, it does not take someone long to know, like if you ask someone what are their faults, what are the things that they're bad at, people know those things. And they might not want to admit it. They might not want to admit it. But if you ask someone, hey, what are you really good at? Like, I don't know. Like, I just live my life. Like, people are, but in our hearts and in our minds, we often are very negative about ourselves. And sometimes that happens because of the way that we see our reflection. Sometimes that happens because of the way an interaction went. And so this one feels like we could go 100 different directions because people are unkind to themselves in a lot of different ways. Yeah. So I'm just going to speak about a way that I'm unkind to myself, that I struggle with. And Brooke's very aware of this. And then ways that I combat that. Because it's not good. It's not good to be super unkind to myself, to go down what I call a rabbit hole of darkness. So for me, and I've actually, I've been battling with it lately. It's nothing I do matters. All of this is pointless.
Right.
No one cares. I'm dumb. I should just not do anything. Like that is, and obviously that is an extreme version of the spiral.
Yeah.
But the spiral starts of like, no one cares. Like, no one cares. This is dumb. Like, that's kind of where it starts. And so in my high school age, TJ version of myself, I had no way to combat this. I wasn't really walking closely with the Lord.
Babe,
I didn't have, I didn't have, and this is not like a call out to my parents.
Goodness, no.
I think that generationally speaking, emotions have not been a priority for many generations. And we're now just starting to realize, we should probably talk about them.
Oh, they matter.
Yeah, they matter. And so I would spiral into this like, but again, I'm not harming myself. I'm not going down that. It's just like, it's in my head. Like it's always in my head of just like, nothing matters. I don't matter. Why do I do what I do? Like no one cares. Like that is the line. That is the lie that the devil has kind of spoken to me that I sometimes find myself believing. Do our t-shirts matter? Do my words matter? Like, and I can spiral. And so this is a version of me not being kind to myself. Because I know this to be true. I was created in the image of God. Brooke loves me for who I am. Yeah. Like I am constantly being refined. Like Jesus died for my sins. Like I know those things to be true. And so here are ways that I try to combat that unkindness to myself to be kind to myself. And I have 6 ways, but I'm sure there's more. These are just the 6 that I was like, these are my go-tos. The first is that I ask and I pray and I cry out to God to refresh me, renew me, give me a new heart, give me a clean heart, show me who I am to him. Yeah. Reveal to me how he loves us. So I usually listen to that song, How He Loves Us. And then I weep and then I'm fine. Number 2 is I worship the Lord in song. I think that throughout scripture, you can see worship and praise and lifting up your hands as a way to interact with God in a way that like brings hope and joy and understanding to your life. Yeah. And so I do that at home by myself while I'm doing the dishes, and I do it at church with lots of people. Right. And so that's just like a big way. And so like I told Brooke recently, I'm like, I am listening to a lot of worship music because I'm at that place. And I think, and I've learned this about myself, right now I'm at that place because we haven't released a collection in a while. And I know that about myself now. Yep. Like I know that like, not that my only purpose in life is the success of a collection. And I know that about myself. Yes. But that does bring me a lot of fulfillment. My work brings me a lot of fulfillment. And so there has been a point in time where work is more spread out than it used to be, so that constant fulfillment is not there as much. And so this is where I feel like I need to cry out to God and say, you fulfill me, Lord. I know that my fulfillment is in you. And that is really what helps me prevent spiraling, but I know myself. So, and this is number 3. This is a huge way that has helped me kind of not go to these unkind places towards myself, is developing language to discuss how I feel sometimes towards myself, with Brooke, with myself, like just literally understanding the language of my brain and knowing why, like I am the way I am.
Yeah.
You want to read something?
Chapter 1, emotional vocabulary. And they talk about how like this is so intentional in the first chapter.
Yes.
Because it is the foundation of everything.
Yeah.
It all starts with the milestone of vocabulary. Emotional literacy is the prerequisite to regulation, practiced empathy, resourcefulness, and a healthy interpersonal relationship. We should feel a strong sense of urgency to weave emotional literacy into the daily rhythm of our families and classrooms. Prioritizing these milestones will shape who our kids become as people.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm not saying you or I had no vocabulary as kids.
Absolutely not.
But we have developed so much more in the last 2-3 years of our life as a married couple. That's been just such a like game changer.
And one of the big ones for us, 2 of the big ones, one was the chair behind us, the metaphor that my friend Dr. Josh gave us, where it's like, I'm acting this way, but the real reason is this empty chair behind me.
What's the real reason down in there? But
yep. And so that metaphor has been super helpful. And then 2 is the Enneagram. And I know that Christians are like all cancel culture on the Enneagram now because of a blog post, I guess. But
it is a tool.
It's a tool that helps.
It is a resource.
And if it helps you, so be it. But not today. I'm not going there today. Yeah. And so the language that has helped me understand those emotions have really helped me to battle those emotions and those feelings about myself. And when I feel myself spiraling, I'm at there's the learning tunnel, which you want to go down.
It's great.
Everybody's going down the learning tunnel. We want to dig deeper into the learning tunnel.
Okay.
The darkness rabbit hole, you don't want to go down.
Scary.
You want to put some caution tape up there.
Yeah.
And so Brooke is my caution tape. I go to her and I say, hey babe, I'm feeling this way. I'm frustrated. I can tell, you can tell usually before I can, because of your wisdom and your grace and your beauty. But I get there a little bit slower. And so Brooke allows me to utilize that language that I'm learning about my emotions and talk to her about it. And we can get out of that place. I stop the spiral. So those are by
naming it.
Yeah, naming it. Like just understanding.
It's like
my leg is broken.
I was literally just gonna say, my stomach hurts, and you go, okay, why? Like, is it something you ate? Is it you start to go through trying to figure out what it is specifically? Because if you don't know, you're just like, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Hope you feel better.
Yeah.
Like I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually, like my first tell is like I start getting stressed about things that I shouldn't be stressed about.
Yeah.
That's my number 1 tell. But the Enneagram has helped me figure that out, because 7s in stress, they go to 1s and they become perfectionists, and I become very detail oriented in kind of the worst way.
About
some would say critical. I think my wife just said critical.
That is literally a 1. I didn't mean that to be critical.
You mean you get super critical? Yep.
You? No.
I've never.
I don't think so.
You, the wonton killer? No. And so, but that's been super helpful. So those are the first 4. I'll go over them real quick. Pray, ask the Lord, ask him to help me.
Yep.
2, I worship the Lord.
Yep.
3, I have developed language to talk about those actual emotions. 4, I have a person to talk about those emotions with, who's very wise and beautiful. I don't know if I said that. And then number 5 I have is my kids. My kids help me see the love of the Father. And that is so, so helpful to me, that like I can go to be the dad of my children and have the tiniest insignificant blip of a view of how deep the Father's love for us is. And if I do that, if I'm refreshing that daily, I don't go to that place.
Yeah.
And it's super helpful. And then this one might surprise people, but I think it's important, and I think it actually does help, is a fruit of the Spirit, self-control. I think a lot of times, most of us are the most unkind to ourselves when we lack self-control. Health is an easy one. You start looking a little bigger, you start looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, ugh, I shouldn't have eaten that whole cheesecake over the sink like an animal. I need to practice more self-control.
When Michael says, when we say eat a pot pie,
Say it.
he ate an
entire pot pie. And when we
family-sized
size
pot
pie. And so I think that self-control, like when we lack self-control, we start to be unkind to ourselves. I'm never good enough. I'm not going to do it.
I'll never change.
I'll never change. Yeah, I'll never be better. And so practicing self-control and flexing that muscle over and over again really does help me be kinder to myself, because it allows me to see like, okay, TJ, you read 2 books in January. You read 2 books in February. You see the lion and the bear. You can battle Goliath. Like you have been consistent. You have practiced self-control. Be kind to yourself and keep practicing it. My turnover rate from a mistake, or like, let's use diet specific. I try not to eat sugar on the weekdays.
Yeah.
Let's say I have a piece of sugar right now. Like
just pop a
sugar cube in right now. I am easier on myself to recover from that because of this, because I can look back and say, okay, I've practiced self-control before, I can get back there. Yeah. Like the recovery rate is quicker. And I think the being kinder to myself is quicker because of the self-control that I can see in the past. So that's number 6. Anything to add to that, babe?
No, that's real good. My ways are all very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so mine's definitely just even.
You don't spiral quite as rapidly as I do. I mean, that's me. Strongly agree, strongly disagree. They're quick. They're intense.
Right.
They burn bright.
Right.
Brooks, you're steady Eddie.
Mine's all, and when I do, it doesn't.
It doesn't look like that.
It doesn't look like that, but in our heads, it's very similar conversation I think going on. But mine, I physically feel swirly. I mean, that's why I came up with that phrase when like late high school into college. Like, it's this feeling in my chest, stomach of just like things are swirling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with all of those ways too.
Yeah. And so and honestly, like our hope for this design, be kind to others, be kind to yourself, the be kind to others, most people are really good at that. Like I am encouraging you to stay positive about yourself in the way that you are kind to others. Mm-hmm. Most of you are very good at that. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
The be kind to yourself is something that often is more of a struggle. And so our hope is that when you look down at the shirt or the sweatshirt, or you have it on your phone wallpaper, or it's a sticker, or however you get to buy it that's in your budget, that you are reminded that you are created in the image of God. Mm-hmm. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. He loves you so much. So you should be kind to yourself. Yeah. And that is so valuable. And if you have trouble with that, call on the Lord, ask him for help, praise him, and try to see yourself through his eyes. Mm. Boom.
I'll preach.
There it is. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making us part of your week. We really, really appreciate it. We are so thankful for the comments and the YouTube and the live commenting. Like I cannot express my gratitude enough at how much that encourages me, especially in this weird sort of season that I just sort of described I've been in. This collection will come out April 9th at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, it will.
April 9th, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering. And so if it's in your budget, that'd be awesome to support us that way. We actually don't do ads on the podcast because of that. And we don't do ads on YouTube anymore. I tried it. It wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
But thank you for listening. Thank you for making us part of your week. Anything to add?
Nope.
No?
Okay,
I love you. Bye.